Okay, in this video, what we're going to do is take a look at top row and bottom row actions and explain the options and how all that works. So, starting a new game where I am RusViet Patriotic, and I know that I'm going up against Nordic. Let's see what their player mat is. They are mechanical. So I get to go first. All right. So there's a few different options. By the way, let's start by noticing Nordic has 4 power, I have 3. Nordic has 3 popularity, I have 2. Now, not to go into any sort of panic because we haven't even had the first round, so no big deal. All right. For the first action, we're going to produce. Now, I'm not going to be able to do a bottom row action, and that's okay, at least for now. So since I have 1 worker on this hex, I will get 1 additional worker represented there, producing on the village. Since I have 1 worker on this mountain, I will get 1 metal. We're going to end turn. Nordic is trading to get 2 resources, and they get 2 wood, represented here. Now I'm going to produce again. Since I have 2 workers here, I can produce, getting 2 more. I have 1 worker there, so produce to get another metal. Now, here's where my special ability comes into play. So, my faction's special ability is Relentless. I can do the same top row action as many times as I want. Whereas the other factions, they cannot do the same top row action. So Nordic traded last turn to get the 2 wood. They have to do one of the different top row actions, either move or produce or bolster. Let's see which one they choose. They choose to produce, so they get 1 wood, 1 oil. Now it's my turn again. I think what I'd like to do is to set myself up to be able to deploy on the next turn. So you see here, it will take 4 metal right now. It'll take 4 metal to deploy a mech. I have 2. So what I'm going to do is trade, giving up 1 coin to get any 2 resources. And as long as you have a worker, you can trade and put resources wherever a worker is. Okay. So they're going to trade again, giving up 1 coin to get 2 oil. And with their oil, they are upgrading. Now what we're going to do is get my first bottom row action completed. So now that I have 4 metal, we're going to bolster for power and trade in the 4 metal to deploy Riverwalk. Okay. So again, RusViet's Riverwalk goes across rivers to farms or villages. Yeah, we're going to place it there. I'll just tell you right now, my next turn is I'm going to move my character to the encounter, and I'm going to move 1 worker down to the mountain. Now let's explain what Nordic just did. So again, everyone has a special ability. Their special ability is they can move workers across rivers. So for the other factions, you need to have a mech carry a worker across a river. Or if you had the mine, it could go from the mine to any one of the tunnels. However, Nordic's ability, which is swim, to move across rivers, they were able to move this worker from here to here, going across this river without, having to be carried by a mech. All right. So I get to move 2 units. I'm going to move the character from here to here. Since I have unlocked Riverwalk, the Riverwalk ability does apply to my character, even though it's sort of considered a mech ability. It also translates to the character. So character goes across this river to that farm, and I'm going to move 1 worker down here. Okay. Now I get to choose 1 of the 3 options for the encounter. Polania, which is the white faction, they get to choose 2. Alright, so I can gain 2 food and 1 popularity. I can pay 2 coins to gain 1 worker or 2 resources. I can pay 2 popularity to enlist a recruit, which is an interesting option. But I think the one that I want to go with right now is to gain 2 food and 1 popularity. So you'll see that my popularity is about to go from 2 to 3, and I'll gain 2 food. Gain 2 food, and it has to go on the hex where the encounter is. Okay. Let's end turn. Right, so they're going to trade for 2 oil, and they will again upgrade. Now I'm going to produce, and this is going to give me my first star. So I'm producing to gain 2 metal and to gain an additional 3 workers, which just gave me my first star. And the star that I got is having all 8 workers. So that star is represented there. Now there is a sort of negative to this whole having all 8 stars out there. You're going to notice here, what this means is that every time I produce from now on in the game, I give up 1 power, I give up 1 popularity, and I have to pay a coin. So that's the negative side of having these workers out there. On the positive side, I have 8 workers, which means that when I produce, I'm going to get a lot of resources. Right, Nordic is going to produce, they get 1 worker. And since they have both a worker and the mill on this hex, they got 2 metal. Okay. So the mill acts as an additional hex that you can produce on, and it acts as a place where if you have the mill and a worker, then you get a lot of resources, because the mill not only acts as a place where you can produce, but it acts as an additional production for you. So they have the mill there and the worker there, so they were able to get 2 resources, 2 metal. Now what I want to do now is get another mech. So I'm going to trade for 2 metal, and the next turn what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolster and deploy. And I'm going to go for the speed mech, and I'll explain why in a second. Okay. Bolster, pay 1 coin. I'm going to go also get 2 power. Again, deploying mechs costs 4 metal. So we're going to give up 1, 2, 3, 4 metal. And we're going to go for speed. Put it right there. Okay. Now the other benefit that I didn't explain before is when I deployed a mech, I also got 1, 2, 3 coins. So whenever you see something in green in these boxes, that means that it's a benefit. If you ever see something in red, that means that you're giving up something. For example, when I bolstered, I gave up a coin, it's in red, and I gained 2 power, it's in green. Then I gave up 1, 2, 3, 4 metal, but I gained a mech, and when I did that, I also gained 3 coins. Let's end the turn and let them produce, so they're getting 2 more workers and 2 more metal. All right, now we're going to move. I not only get to move 2 units, but because of unlocking the speed mech, I'm able to move 2 hexes. So I'm going to have the character take the 2 food, and I'm going to go here. 1, 2. So because of Riverwalk allowing me to go across rivers to the village, it was able to do that move from here to here. And then since I have speed, I was able to do an additional move to this one because I want to pick up that encounter. Now, for my second unit to move, the mech is going to take all these workers to this hex. That's going to end the move option, and now we're going to get another encounter. All right, so I can gain 2 food and 1 popularity. I can pay 2 coins to gain a worker and 3 food, pay 2 popularity to build a structure. I think this is another one where I'm going to gain 2 food and 1 popularity, simply because I like food for enlistments. I think it's one of the most important, if not the most important, of the bottom row actions. And I'm getting dangerously close to getting to that point where I'm only going to have 0 or 1 popularity. So let's do that one. Okay. Gain 2 food. And I'm not able to do this bottom row action. See here, I don't have enough resources. I don't have any oil. Okay, so we just end the turn. They're bolstering power. And they are going to deploy their first mech. They also deployed their speed mech. Right. I'm just going to increase their, it's kind of like a fast forward for them. Right. Now we're going to produce and enlist. So I get to produce on 2 territories. I'm going to give up 1 power, 1 popularity, 1 coin. But I get 6 food and 2 metal. And I will enlist by giving up 1, 2, 3 food. All right, now, so again, I've already done a few really important things. I have a couple of mechs. However, I don't have any enlistments yet. Okay. So the way that enlistments work is, if I were to click on this one, enlisting for cards, what that means is that every time for the rest of the game that I enlist, or when Nordic enlists my neighbor, I would get an additional coin. The one that I'm going to choose right now, however, I'm going to choose this one, which means that every time that I deploy, or that Nordic deploys for the remainder of the game, I get a coin. So I'm going to choose that one. And we also get a one-time bonus of either 2 coins, 2 popularity, 2 power, or 2 cards. I think right now, I'm just going to go for the 2 cards. So right now you see that I have 1 2 card, and I have 1 5 card. Let's see what cards I get. I got another 2 and another 5. Having 2 5 cards is pretty good at this point in the game. All right, so because I enlisted, I got 2 coins. All right. We've completed 10 rounds. We will continue this in the next video.